Now I'm out at the hives and I am trying to see if I can sort this out. Now I went into Black Betty's hive the other day and there was 2 brood boxes. She's on a double brood, so that's a brood box and then another brood box on top without a queen excluder in between. And there were so many bees and they were covering so many frames in the bottom brood box. Before winter last year I gave them an extra brood box. Now they filled the entire brood box, and I checked the other day, the 2 of the brood boxes were full of bees and I was afraid that they were going to swarm. So what I did was I took out the nook here and I got 2 frames of food, a couple of capped brood and 1 frame that had eggs and larvae in it. Now this nook here has no queen at the moment, but what I'm hoping is that the bees, because they know there's no queen, they will pull queen cell, and that way then they will create their own new queen. So in the meantime what I'm doing is I am feeding them here. So I didn't have my camera the other day when I did it, so I figured I'd come out today and show you what the setup looks like. Now there's a curious bee around me here at the moment. Now I'll just lift this off. Now on the top of here I have a feeder. Okay, I'm feeding them 1-to-1 sugar syrup at the moment. That's what's in here. Oh, there's an unlucky bee. Come out there. Come out. Now I have this in this little super here, but I'm going to just show you that in a minute. Now just put this out of the way. Now this is the feeder. Now the sugar syrup comes out the bottom of that and they can eat it. So I'm just going to leave this down here out of the way for the moment, just so it's safe. I don't want to spill it anywhere. Now in here, I'll show you what's here. Let's see. I'm going to move you forward slightly for me. Now, okay. Now this is the one awkward bit about a nook, is that the frames are going the opposite way to what you're used to in a hive, so it's a bit weird going in and getting it. You see, I'll just see, can I move this camera slightly different place that it's easier for me to move around it. Okay, so this has only just been newly put in here, so it's not awkward to remove. Now here is just, this is just a bit of either ivy honey or fondant, I'm not sure which it is. That was in another hive, so I pulled that in, just give them an extra bit of food to get them going. So, and then I pulled another frame. What's on this one? I think this one here has some cap brood. Okay, on that one has some cap brood in that. And what have we got next? Oops. Now that's a honey frame there, so they've got food, so I'm not worried about them. And there's nectar coming in. You can see the nectar there. See, it's shining. Now, what's in this one? This is cap brood. So you can see why I want to duplicate her. She's a fabulous queen. Now there is larvae in here and eggs. I don't know if you can see the eggs in the bottom. So I'm hoping that they pull a queen. There's a couple of frames with this on them, so hopefully if I leave them alone for about a month, the queen should have emerged. She should have matured, and she should have gone on a mating flight. Ooh, that's not a good thing to do. Whoa, sorry girls, I didn't mean to do that for you. So let's see. So that's all cap brood, that's ready to emerge. See, there's a little bee there coming out. See him poking out? You can see them, the other bees walking around it. Now those bees there, you know this as their hive. So when they go out foraging, they're going to forage to this location. They're going to come back to this. This will be their home. So that's the advantage of giving them cat brood, is it boosts the numbers quickly, and it also helps them have what they need in the hive. So that's why I moved them over with the capped brood, because I didn't want to give them anything they had to really mind. I wanted them to be kind of self-sufficient. They have to keep it warm, okay, but other than that, there's not really much they have to do at the moment. And when the numbers expand, there'll be loads of bees then to take care of what's needed. So this is what's in this hive at the moment, and there's loads of lovely pollen there. You can see all the different colours. So I've just given them a bit of a boost here, so hopefully they have enough to do what they need to do. So I'm going to close up this hive now, this nook, and I'm going to give them the sugar syrup on top and just let them do their thing basically. So I'm popping this on top. Come on, babies. I'm just going to move these over there. Just slide it over. Come on, guys, move over there. Oh, shit. A wee bit of comb there. I'll bring the hive too. Oh. Didn't bring it with me. Okay, so I'll just come back and do that another day. Move over, girls. Move over. Alright, so I'm just putting that down. I'm putting the little thing just to weigh it down slightly, just so it doesn't lift, because if it lifts, the bees can go in and get drowned, and I don't want that to happen. So then I'm popping this on here. There's a new grey bee after hanging out, so I'll leave that on top. Now the bees can drink the sugar syrup, that helps boost them. And then they're also coming in and out as well, foraging. And I'm just going to put the lid on here. Come on off, girls. Come on, off. There's a hole there so they can actually go back down in, so it's no big deal there. So as there isn't a queen in this hive, I'm leaving these sideways, because then I know there isn't a queen, so I'll need to come back and check in a month on that hive there. So we're going over here to Brianna's hive. Now, Brianna is my first hive. She was my original nook of bees I got, and she is the one who all my other queens are coming from, if you get me. So I'll just see, can I position this better so you can see what's going on in her hive. The bee wants to be famous. Okay, now. Oh, ouch. Now in this hive here, we have again 2 brood boxes. Then we have a queen excluder, and then we have a super. Now the super has foundation in it. Now what I want them to do is I want them to draw out the foundation, so it's more usable. In other words, the bees can put honey in it or nectar in it to make it into honey. So in the original way you get them, when you get them first, you get them and they look like this. They're totally flat, and then you see the little hexagonal shapes there. The bees pull that out and then they make that into the honeycomb, so it looks like this. Okay, now these already started working on that one, so you can see the difference. So the bees had to pull the wax out, and that takes a lot of effort. So the first year you're trying to get as much pulled comb, because then the bees can put the honey in it without doing all that extra work. The comb can be reused a few years as long as it's clean and there's nothing, no diseases in your hive. So what I do is I try and give them some of this, and then I replace some of this with undrawn, because I'm trying to get drawn comb, because drawn comb, once there's a flow on, as in there's loads of nectar coming in, the bees want to start filling it as quick as possible. So if they've got some comb that's already partially drawn, they'll fill that quicker. But what I'm going to try and do now at the moment is I'm going to replace some of this drawn comb with some that isn't drawn. So like there's lovely drawn comb there. Now that would be ready for the bees to start using. So I'll leave some there, but I'll see how many's in this at the moment. A lot of this is undrawn. It's all undrawn there, undrawn. So there's only just those couple drawn so far. So I might leave it for another week and then see how much they've drawn, and then take out some of it and replace it with undrawn comb. That way then it'll just give me a head start when I need to put a super in another hive. So I might take that one and just give them in another one. Because if you're putting on a super and you put one that's already drawn in, it draws the bees up into the hive, into the super, so they're more readily happy to pull the wax. So what I'm going to do for the moment is, Brianna has 2 brood boxes here, so I'm not worried about her really laying up in the super. So what I'm going to do for the moment, to get them to go up and down easily, I'm going to take off the queen excluder temporarily. And that way then the bees can go up and down without any hassle. So I'm just going to lay that outside now for a second. Now I'm going to have a wee peek in this one to see what's drawn in this. Now there's some drawn and some undrawn in this one. So you can see as they start to draw it, it looks like that when they start pulling it. So just go a tiny bit. Okay, baby's alright. Now, I brought the smoker out with me. I don't really like using it unless I have to. The smoke irritates me, so I think it'll irritate the bees. Now you can see they're cleaning up all these combs and pulling out where they need to. Now this is one up here where Brianna lays, so she could actually be up here at the moment because there is some drawn comb, and they draw it out for her to lay in as well as to put honey in. So let's have a wee peek. The smell is just beautiful. It smells like every kind of flowers. It's just gorgeous. But you can see the honeycomb there, and the bees are busy. Just pop that back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it for about a week, and then I'll come back. Sorry ladies, I'm not going to move your fingers there when I get that one out. Okay, come on out there. Sometimes you can feel a vibration of a bee if you get the bee between your finger and the frame. But you can see the bees there working away. I'll pop you back down there. She could be in the lower box, the queen, so I'm not worrying if I don't find her. I know she's in here. I saw her a couple of days ago, so I know she's fine. She has a yellow dot. You mark them with different colours every year. It's a different kind of colour. Just putting off this. I don't want any cross comb boot between the frames, so I'm just taking those off. Because if one bee starts something going out, they'll all continue growing on it. So I'm just pulling that off at the moment. I'll check this side too. Okay. There's some amount of work doing all the wax. Mind babies. Let's get out of your way. Down. Okay, babies. Okay. And I can see the bees. I haven't gone that side yet. I'm gonna check how many frames I've got in this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. 11 frames in this one. Okay. So I'm going to leave off the queen excluder and I'm going to just put a super on here. Now just giving a puff of smoke here just to get the bees to go back down. Come on girls, in you go. It's purely just to stop me squishing them as I put the next level on. And then I'm going to leave this super on for about a week, and then I'm going to see if they're pulling the comb quicker, because if they don't have the queen excluder on, they go up much happier up to the upstairs super and will pull the comb quicker. So if the queen did happen to come up and lay up here, it doesn't really matter, because the brood would hatch out and then I'd put a queen excluder on once I saw that and push the queen back down. So then I'd know that she was safely in the bottom 2 brood boxes. So I'm going to cover this in now, and I'm going to bring in that one drawn one and put that in my stash. Excuse me. So I'll leave these now for another week, and then I'll come up and see how many frames have been pulled since. Now, oops. Oh, jeez. So amazing, just lovely to see them pulling the comb. So I'll just bring you around the front here to see the front of this. So that's the front of the hive there, and that little one square there with the circular thing at the front, that's the nook. So you know the difference. See the bees going in and out there. So hopefully it'll all work out. So I'll know in about a month's time. And how I'll tell is if I go into the nook and I see eggs, and I see a queen obviously, but sometimes the queens are hard to find. But if I do find her, I will mark her, the same as I mark all the queens, and then that would be a replacement queen if one of my queens die, and also another hive basically, or the beginnings of a hive. Now when that got very strong, then I'd move it into a wider hive where there's 10 frames rather than 6. But for now it's enough to keep warm, it's enough to keep fed, and it's enough for the bees to mind. So that's the plan anyway for that one. So I'm going over here now, over to Betty's hive, and I'm just going to remove the queen excluder and see how the pulling is going for the frames. So that's, you can watch the bees there for a few minutes. You see them going in and out with the nectar, the pollen. I'm just going to put these bees over here for a second. See how they're doing with these. I'm starting to draw, that's good. She has 2 supers on. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to bring you over here. You'll see here. So there's 2 supers. So if you look down here, you can see the bees below, and then the queen excluder, and then this level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this box here, and I'm going to push the sorry, the camera just fell off there for a second. Oops. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this box here. Just bring the smoker over, they're getting a bit busy. So why are you coming in? Just get a wee puff of smoke there. A puff of smoke. And I'm just going to take off this one and remove the queen excluder. You can see this is a busy hive. So I'm just going to take off this. Now, they're drawing that nicely. Now this is a double brood box again, so the queen could be in this box or the one below it. So I'm just going to pop around the sides just to get the bees to go down, because I don't want to squish any bees. And then I'm going to put back on the 2 supers. So just, it doesn't matter if the queen goes up for now. If she does, even if she lays, it's not a big deal. Once I see that happening, I'll push her back down. But in the meantime, I want them to pull comb. So I'm just popping on these 2 here, and then I'll just leave it at that and put the crown board on, and then I'll put the roof on, and then I'll come back in about a week's time and see how much comb has been drawn, and then I can put the queen excluder back on then. So they don't like the disturbance, as you can see by the front of the hive, but they'll calm down in about 10 or 15 minutes. It'll all calm down and it'll be like you weren't in there at all. So I'm just going to put on the lid. And so we'll just give that a couple of minutes and you'll see it all calm down. It's amazing to see the pollen that coming in. But now the bees will just settle in a few minutes, and you'll see they just start going in doing their normal thing, as they know there's no threat. Now the bees are starting to go in with pollen. You see the pollen on their legs? That's the lemon coloured and orange pollen. I think the orange is the dandelions, and I have a lot of laurel around here too, so I think they're bringing it in from the laurel trees. There's also apples in blossom, so it's lovely to see them coming in with pollen. The weather's been so miserable, and they had a rough time the last couple of months. It wasn't normal weather, and the bees are going to kind of catch up. Every time they get a good spell at all, they're out and about. I'm leaving the dandelions in the lawn at the moment because the bees love the pollen from them, and this time of year it's nice to give them as many pollen sources as possible. So the lawn can stay long for the next month, and then after that I'll get some kind of order onto it. I tried to do one side, I'll leave one side having the flowers and then the other side not. But I had to put on a bee suit to come round by the bees, so they seem to love my son, and he doesn't love them as much. So if he's mowing the lawn, a bee suit is necessary by the hives. Unless it's late in the evening time when the bees are going in, they don't kind of bother as much. But if it's in the middle of the day and it's a sunny day, they kind of take it personal. So, but these are particularly calm bees. I can work them like without using much smoke or any at all some days, depending on what I'm doing with the bees. Now a lot of the foragers are out at the moment, so they're out gathering in the nectar and the pollen, and you see them coming in with their baskets full of different colour nectar, or different colour pollen, sorry. But it's just lovely to see them now. See, they're already calming down now, so whatever threat they perceived, they figure, okay, it's alright, everything's okay. So they get back to normal business. You see the lovely orange and yellow pollen going in. Now there's a few bees still buzzing around me because they see you as a threat. So they're protecting with their hives. They're out to see if there is a threat coming to warn the other bees. Now I opened up the entrance because there were so many bees in this hive. I wanted to make sure they had access and it was easy to get into. I'll just turn this around slightly so maybe you can get a better angle. But they seem to be calming down now. So I put the brick back on top of that, just in case it was windy. Just to protect them. You see the lemon coloured pollen? I think that's from the laurels, but maybe if someone knows for sure what it's from, let me know in the comments. Now if you watch the bees, you see some going in and some coming out at the same time. As they are coming in, they're going out again, different bees. Now the queen in this hive that we're looking at here, she was one I reared last year. I split my own first hive, and she was one of the queen cells that emerged and got mated and went back to the hive. Now she's a really dark queen, and she has a red dot on her, but it actually looks pink. But on her, she's really dark native black bee. So, and she's a lovely temperament. She's really laid back, but she really fills the brood frame, which is good because I get loads of bees then. So, and you see the way they've calmed down a lot now, so they're just literally going on with their regular business. As bees come in, bees go out. So it'll just be back to normal now in a few minutes. I hope you're enjoying the videos. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. Now, I'm not saying it's the only way or the right way, it's just literally what I'm doing and my beekeeping journey. So if you want to see what I'm at and see what the bees are at, please subscribe and like the channel and help other people in the same situation, just starting out beekeeping. take some of the fear out of it and some of the terminology as well. It's had a bit of a learning curve. I don't necessarily always call it the right thing, but you kind of get the gist of what I'm on about. So now the bees are well calmed down there. Down the road from where I live, there's a field, and it is totally covered with dandelions. So every time I drive by it, I think, oh, my girls are down there. The bees are finding that and bringing it back and turning natural pollen and nectar into beautiful honey. So I'm looking forward to the summertime when all the flowers are out and see all the bees with so much to eat. And hopefully we get a nice summer this year. Last year was just a learning curve with the bees. I only got them in May, so I literally got about 6 jars of honey last year, which was lovely because I didn't expect to get any, and I had split the hive as well. I came back to a swarm in the air one day, and from having no hives, suddenly I had 2, and then I had a nook that was a swarm that came, but it didn't work out, and I ended up dumping that swarm out because it just wasn't worth it. And I decided then that I'm going to multiply my hives. I'm going to use the genetics that I know of the bees that I know, because Brianna is a calm queen and her offspring seem to be calm, and Black Betty, her offspring seem to be calm. So hopefully if the nook does work out, the split, a walk-away split I did, works out and I do end up getting another queen out of that. So that would be then the 3rd hive, and that's a safety precaution too, because if anything happened to either of my queens, I have a replacement queen, so I'm not going to lose a whole hive. So the story with this one now is I'm going to leave it for a week, Black Betty's hive, and come back to it in a week's time to see how these top 2 supers here are doing, as in have they pulled the comb in these top 2. And if they have, then I'll put in the queen excluder above the brood boxes, and then once the bees have got used to being up there, pulling the comb and filling the comb, then they'll have no problem going up there again. So that's the story anyway. And if they have pulled a load of the comb out, I will remove some of it and give them foundation sheets, the flat sheets, again to let them continue pulling it, because I want them to pull as much foundation for me, because I don't have pulled drawn comb, because I only started beekeeping last May, so I literally had enough to do the hives over last year, but I didn't have any extra. So this time of year when the bees are busy, I'm going to try and get them to do that, put them to work, and then when I have say 2 boxes of foundation that's pulled, then I will leave them back to just fill in for honey. So just keep replacing the supers and keep letting them fill them with honey, and hopefully we get some honey this year. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm just looking at this lovely little apple tree there, and there's actually jasmine tied around it, so I need to take that off because it's going to pull the poor tree down. And then the buddleia here beside the beehive, that's lovely when it's in bloom. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and please like and subscribe, and I hope your bees are doing well. And if you haven't got your bees yet, just try preparing as much as you can for that. It's got a wonderful experience and I know you're going to love it. So join some club or beekeeping course and find out as much as you can before you do it. It is an expensive hobby to get started with, and the joke is that the first jar of honey costs you about €1,000. So in honesty I think it does, because every time you go to any of the beekeeping clubs you end up seeing more things you just must have. So your basic hive is a floor, a brood box and a lid, and then you have to buy the extra bits that go with it. So then you have to buy the the beekeeping suit and the smoker and the gloves and the hive tool and wax and frames, and learn how to put all that together. But it is definitely rewarding. I love that I got the bees. I wanted to have bees for years. Finally got them, and looking forward to many years of beekeeping. So thanks again for joining us on the channel, and I do hope you like the videos. Please give us a like, a thumbs up. It means a lot to us. Thank you. Bye for now.